Alright, Biblical DNA here, and today we have the genetics of the Dodanim, also known as the Rodanim. Right, we're going to go on UMAP, and we're going to show exactly the location of these people. Alright, Ordona, that's your source right here. These are some of the samples that were found. I also have the Global 25 coordinates that I'm going to use the PCA, the principal component analyst. So look forward to that. So here we go. All right. The first source is from the McClintock and the Strong Biblical Cyclopedia. All right. Dodanim, a family or race descended from the fourth son of Yavon, the son of Japheth. Genesis chapter 10, verse 4. The authorities vary as to the form of the name. The Hebrew text has Dodanim in Genesis, but Rodanim in the text of the parallel passage, 1 Chronicles chapter 1, verse 7. And the sons of Yavon, Elisha, and Tarshish, Kittim, and Rodanim or Dodanim. Dodanim appears in the Syriac, Chaldee, Vulgate, Persian, and Arabic versions, and in the Targum of Onkelos. Rodanima is supported by the Samaritan version, and some early writers, as Asbes and Cosmas. And so the Septuagint is talking about the weight of authority is in favor of Dodanim. The substitution of Rodanims in the Septuagint may have arisen from familiarity with that name. Compare Ezekiel chapter 27, verse 15. The men of Dedan were thy merchants. Many isles were the merchandise of thine hand. They brought thee for a present horns of ivory and ebony, where it is again substituted for Dedan. So we got to stop there, y'all. We see that these people had different names, right? We see that they went from Dodanim to Rodanim to Dedan, just in the Bible alone. First of all, that's the most important aspect to learn about this, is that based off of the different books, they had different names, right? Dodanim is regarded as identical with Dardani. Jessenius Theresa, page 1266. The latter, which is the original form, having been modified by the change of the liquid R into O, as in Bar-Melarkar and Bo-Melarkar, Ham-Melarkar and Ham-Melarkar. Thus the Targum of Jonathan, that on Chronicles, and the Jerusalem Talmud give Dardania for Dodanim. The Dardani were found in historical times in Illyricum, and Troy, the former district, was regarded as the original seat. And we're going to clarify this too, because I don't think the people that wrote the Jerusalem Talmud had any understanding of the different Greek tribes. They had no idea who these people were. Let's not forget that the so-called tribe of Dan, the Greeks, yeah, they were originally from Greece from the beginning, and they returned home. They didn't go off into the Nile River going into East Africa. They would have returned home. And that the problem is also is in the book of Joel chapter 3 verse 6, there were Jews scattered all throughout the Balkans and Greece. So there's no telling who you cannot identify a specific Greek tribe and say, "Oh yeah, these people are Dardanium, these people are this, these people are that. They're all the sons of Javan." No, it doesn't work that way. All right, the Dardani were found in historical times in Illyricum and Troy. The former district was regarded as the original seat. They were probably a semi-Paleolithic race and are grouped within the Chitim in the geological table as more closely related to them than to the other branches of the Paleolithic race. The similarity of the name Dodani or Dodani in Epirus has led to the identification of Dodanim with that place, but a mere local designation um, appears to restricted for the general tenor of Genesis 10. So Kalish identifies Dodanium with the Daunians who occupied the coast of Apulia. He regards the name as referring to Italy in general. Now they're going to Italy, all of Italy. So now all the peninsula of Italy became part of Javan or that Daunian. So they were all the same according to this, right? The wide and unexplained difference of the names and the comparative unimportance of the Daunians form objections to this view. Those who prefer the reading of Rodanim refer to it to the Greek inhabitants along the river Rhone from the original Rhodius. All right. Now, the Jewish Encyclopedia. All right. First of all, why this is important, right? Because we have to get some clarification, all right? Because that it's obviously some bold statements to sit there and say that the whole peninsula of Italy was of Yavon. So, because we know that a lot of the sea peoples that went to war with Ramses III, a lot of them came from the Mediterranean shores. So a lot of them would have came from the Italian peninsula, the Aegean Sea. I'm even saying all the way to the Iberian Peninsula. I believe people came to fight, to come together with this confederation and fight Egypt. So yeah, I mean, this is important to identify before we really get into the genetics. All right, Dodanim by Emil G. Gerdish. Name of sons of Javan or Yavin, brothers to Elisha, Tarshish, and the Kittim. In the ethnographic table in Genesis chapter 10, verse 4, the ancestor being Yavon, Ionian. The Dodanium must represent also a Greek clan. This cannot be Dodana in the interior of Epirus, as both the association with the Kittim, Cyprians, in Genesis chapter 10, verse 5, indicate a people settled on the seashore. Dardanians, the northern Ionians, have been suggested, but it is not likely that the author of this list had such detailed knowledge of the subdivisions of the Greek populations. Go ahead and highlight this, y'all. Go ahead and read that over again. But it is not likely that the author of this list had such detailed knowledge of the subdivisions of the Greek population, meaning they had no clue. They don't know which people belong to which tribe, to which lineage. Like they have no idea. It's all myth. Like they just made up some theories and oh yeah, these people belong to this, these people they have no idea. It's just like somebody that was haplogroup G, that was Assyrian. When a man from Israel was getting murdered, you know what I'm saying, or getting freaking bashed in the head or shot with a bow and arrow, they weren't thinking, oh, this man ain't a real Assyrian. He belonged to a different haplogroup. No, it didn't work that way. Or his admixture is Hittite, old Hittite, or old Greek. You see what I'm saying? Like, they wouldn't have had any clue. So in First Chronicles, I don't know what this one is. I7. Didn't I just read? What is First Chronicles? Is up here. 1:7. All right, chapter 1, verse 7. The reading is Rodanim, as it is in the Samaritan, the Septuagint, and Jerome. In Genesis chapter 10, verse 4, these are the inhabitants of the island Rhodas, like Rhode Island, well known to the Phoenicians of old. All right, they're comparing that to the Homer's Iliad. The only difficulty in the way of this identification is the long O in the Hebrew, where the Greek has the short sound. The modern commentators, Bayantics and Hausinger, accordingly changed the Dalit into a resh and read Rodanim. All right, now, and this is the source where it originally came from, where Emil G. Hirsch originally wrote that. Now, the Darda, right? Since they brought up the Dardanians, now I got to bring up Darda, right? And this, you see the same author, right? Emil G. Hirsch, Gerson B. Levi, one of the wise men surpassed in wisdom by King Solomon. First Kings, I think that's chapter, what is that? Man, I wish they wouldn't write it like this. I don't know my Latin. I think that's, what is that, 6 or 7? Give me a second, y'all. Should have did a better job at having this. They're saying 431, so okay. Chapter 431, verse 31. He is mentioned with Ethan, Heman, and Charcoal as a son of Maol. In First Chronicles chapter 2, verse 6, he is called Dara, the son of Zerah. Rabbinic fancy has identified Darda with the generation of knowledge, Dorde, of the wilderness. Kol Adam refers to Adam. Ethan is Abraham. Heman or Heman is Moses, and Charcoal is Joseph. See Rashi on First Kings chapter 4 verse 11, and I'm pretty sure it's the same Rashi for the 11th century. So the Rashi that came with all the confusion that Germania was Ashkenaz, and that Hispaniola, Spain was Sepharad, and France was it starts with a T, Path or something like that. Straight up confusion, and that Bohemia was the land of Canaan. 100% confusion. All right, but we see that Darda, right, in the Bible refers to Israelite, and I'm gonna prove it. And it's all Greek, all straight up Greek. All right, home of knowledge. That's another meaning of it. So this is the verse that they use, First Kings chapter 4 verse 31. Darda, pearl of wisdom. Now in Albania it means like Dardanian means like pear or something like that. So interesting, or white. So it's very interesting. All right, so these are the two verses that they use. It says right here. Let's see this. So there's two different definitions. So Dara is an Israelite, right? Probably continuation from Darda. Look at that, y'all. Darda, an Israelite. And we know it was the Greeks that came up with that Israelite word. Nobody was using that Israelite word until the Greeks. All right, so Darda, apparently from Dar and Day, pearl of knowledge. Darda in Israelite, Darda. All right, so something's got to give with all of this. I don't think that the Dodanian are the Dardanians, but they could be. And this is where the tribe of Dan could actually, the Danoi, the Danian, could actually descend from. I have no idea, until they actually, archaeologists actually find skeletons and they say that this is part of the Dardanian culture, the Danoi culture, and there's a similarities between the two, then from there I could sit there and say for certain that the tribe of Dan, or the Dardanians, and or Rodim or the Dodanim are one and the same people. All right. This is the Oxford reference. I know that this one's messed up. Let me see if I can move this one real quick. Here we go. All right. Are identified by Greek authors in archaeological evidence as the inhabitants of northern Apulia, like the Pasitans and the Messapians to the south. They emerged after circa 700 BC as a distinct, I'm assuming distinct like group or whatnot. So that's the Oxford reference to them. Classical studies. All right, let's get back to it. Now this is the only reference I can find is right here to the KJV. I'm not really sure. I haven't done much research, but I figured just to bring it up since I found it might be useful for others that are doing research on this. But if you do find something, just let me know in the comment section. Much appreciated. All right, to the article. All right, so this paper was published in the Molecular Biology and Evolution back in January 17, 2017. Let me make sure my screen is showing good. All right, it looks good. All right, this looks good. All right. All right, so the abstract. The geographical location is shaped. Let me make sure I'm saying this word correctly. I'm pretty sure it's Apilia or something like that. Let me make sure I'm saying it correctly though. Okay. Apulia. Okay, Apulia. Apulia, a narrow land stretching out in the sea at the south of Italy, made this region a Mediterranean crossroads connecting Western Europe and the Balkans. Such movements um, culminated at the beginning of the Iron Age with the Epigean civilization, which consisted of three cultures. All right, let me see. See if this worked real quick. Test something. Come on. I know I got faith in you. Let's see if this works. I guess not. Yeah, all right.
Daunians. Among them, the Daunians left a peculiar cultural heritage, with one-of-a-kind stele and pottery, but, despite the extensive archaeological literature, their origin has been lost to time. In order to shed light on this and to provide a genetic picture of Iron Age southern Italy, we collected and sequenced human remains from 3 archaeological sites geographically located in northern Apulia, the area historically inhabited by Daunians, and radiocarbon dated between 1157 and 275 Cal BCE. We find that Iron Age Apulian samples are still distant from the genetic variability of modern-day Apulians. They show a degree of genetic heterogeneity comparable with the cosmopolitan Republican and Imperial Roman civilization, even though a few kilometers and centuries separate them, and they are well inserted into the Iron Age pan-Mediterranean genetic landscape. Our study provides for the first time a window on the genetic makeup of pre-Roman Apulia, whose increasing connectivity within the Mediterranean landscape would have contributed to laying the foundation for modern genetic variability. In this light, the genetic profile of Daunians may be compatible with an at least partial autochthonous origin, with plausible contributions from the Balkan Peninsula.
All right, so it's saying that, they'd be compatible with contributions from the Balkan Peninsula, right? So that's interesting. They would say that because there's no EV13 found amongst the Daunians. So I'm assuming that EV13 wasn't in the land, or they weren't associated with these people. All right. So let me skip. I want to jump down to the genetics. Right. So we see who they would closely resemble down here. Right. I got this popped up. Wait. For us right here, as we can see. And I also already ran it through Vahaduo. Let me see if this one. There we go. Got y'all. Make sure I'm doing this yet. Giving y'all justice when it comes to this. All right, we see that they resemble down here. It's saying that they're closely related to, like, according to their PCA, they're saying that they're related to, like, Italian, like, Balkan people, right? Mediterranean people. And they also have some of them, I think it's 2 sources, have a steppe population, right? So I did the global 25 ancient world Neolithic, Eneolithic calculator. This is the source right here. Right, so what I did, I used the target, the available sources that's available for the Daunians. Let's go. These are the results starting from the beginning. We see that they have a farmer's Barson Neolithic, so that's a Turkish, and so northwest Turkey. We see the steppe, Iberian Neolithic, East Asian Neolithic, Dradivian, Bronze Age. So Southeast Africa also amongst them, right? Scroll up. So we see a farmer's Balkans Neolithic, steppe Neolithic, or Neolithic, East Africa, Southeast Asia, East Asia Neolithic, Dradivian again, Bronze Age, farmers Iberian Neolithic, hunters SHG, again northwest Europe or Turkey, even Iran, pastoralists, again Balkans, farmers Balkans Neolithic, farmers Iberian Neolithic, East Asia Neolithic, steppe. All right, so it's showing this same genetic mutations or genetic distance for all of them. Now this is Vahaduo. This is the one I did. Let me see, is it showing correctly? There we go. Sure, it's showing correctly for y'all. All right. Take off that G. Start from the top again. Let me zoom in for y'all so y'all can see these. Bam. All right. So we see Bulgaria, Sweden, Hungary, and these are just samples that came the closest. Right? That's what I do. I use all the ancient individual PCAs, and I just basically run them, and I compare which ones are the closest to the samples. All right, we see ORD009 has a Levant Israel Chalcolithic amongst them, and if I'm not mistaken, this individual belonged to maternal DNA K1A. Let me see if this is correct. Or AH5C, right? My apologies. It was the Sal 003. I think that's another sample that's up there. All right. So this one has a connection, the highest connection being Albanian, England, Italy, the Etruscan. And see, I was gonna do an Etruscan paper with this video also, but I decided to separate them. All right. And we can also see the steppe Russian in there. All right, so this individual had a France, Champagne, Greece, Minoan, Sweden, Turkey, Germany, Denmark, Sweden, Viking. All right. Show you this one was interesting too. That I had a Levant till Corasa, early antiquity. So that was very interesting. I think this is the one I was talking about, right? So it's the Sal 003. Yep. And it maternal DNA was K1A2A, right? Check this out, y'all. 9.2 Levant Ashkelon, Iron Age 1 at 9.2%. Greece Minoan, 20.2%. England. Greece Mycenaean, 12.4%. Iberia, Neolithic, 10.4%. That's insane. Look at this. Sudan, Cabernet, so this is the early Christian, Nubia, 4.2%. All right, the last one is, we see Sweden again, Hungary, England, Iberia. So they show similar DNA. I also did the distance, and these are to modern populations, right? So starting from the top, from the first one, we see Portuguese, Spanish, French, Spanish, Italian, Spanish, Italian, Italian, French, Spanish, Albanian, French, Italian, Spanish, Greek, Roma. All right. So we see the same for a lot of these. Italian, French, Swiss, Italian, Portuguese, Spanish, Greek. Again, Italian, French, Greek, Spanish. This is the K1A maternal DNA individual. All right. So Italian, Spanish, French, Spanish, Italian, French, Spanish, so forth and so on. All right. All right. So I want to show y'all where it says that they have a steppe ancestry. So it shows that they have a steppe ancestry, yada yada. So these are the sources that they use in order to get a combination of their admixture. So they did a Western hunter-gatherer, an Anatolian Neolithic, steppe-related, interchangeable Caucasus hunter-gatherer, or Iranian or Iranian Neolithic. Hear me better. All right. Make sure this is good to go. All right. Let me zoom this in for y'all. Boom. All right. All right, it says, in particular, northernmost location received higher proportions of Western hunter-gatherer, steppe-related ancestry, and consequently, Caucasus hunter-gatherer ancestors, whereas Southern European groups carried variable Iranian, Neolithic, or Caucasus hunter-gatherer traces. Right, and it's just like I showed y'all. So they use the Amara sample proxy for the non-African component in the modern Ethiopian individuals that was tentatively linked to the Sea people, right? So they're saying the Hobble group J2A is linking the Ethiopians to the Sea peoples, right? And that's where they get the concept of the tribe of Dan from, the Denyen or the Denoi. All right. The origin of the Daunians. The apparent genetic heterogeneity of IAA individuals connected to the Daunian population and the Mapatilian, God, I can't speak for nothing today. Mapatilian, Cosmo, I can't speak for shit today. Sorry about that. Cosmo Cosmopolitan. Yeah, cosmopolitan. Sorry about that. Landscape of Iron Age Mediterranean populations hinder a full reconstruction of the demographic processes leading to the Daunians. Nevertheless, a few milestones can be spotted. When we performed analysts to investigate the nearest possible source for each IAA individual using Minoans, Iron Age, Croatians, and the local Roman Republicans. We found that none of the IAA individuals show higher affinities with Minoans. Three of them, which clustered close to modern Italians in the PCA, or ORD001, ORD014, and SGR003 show higher affinity with the Iron Age Croatian sample. ORD004 followed this pattern too, but with lower FG3 values. However, the remaining majority are closest to the Roman Republicans, which can be interpreted as representative of local Iron Age Peninsular Italy ancestry, as also indicated by our MDS results. Let's see, show this. All right. It says, moreover, the WHG contribution, which was a necessary component to explain IAA and Roman Republicans, according to QP Adim, output is absent from Minoans and Iron Age Croatians, thus making it a putative signature of an at least partial. Oh gosh, here we go again. I usually know how to say this word. Autoconscious. Gosh. Yeah, toxinous origin. These results are confirmed for Minoans, but not for Croatia. Early Iron Age, but the F4 analysts. Indeed, the significantly negative F4 Minoans, as well as the F4 Greece Minoan Mycenaeans, reported a significant excess of WHG ancestry. All right. In all IAA individuals, with the exception of ORD004, SAL001, and SGR003, also the medieval samples ORD010 and SGR001 deviate from this pattern. An excess of Bronze Age steppe-related component, which at that time was already present along the Italian peninsula, was clearly present in SGR002, ORD006, and ORD009 by the F4 Iron Age or IAA Greece Minoan. Alright. So I think I'm going to stop right there. I already showed the concept of what they had, the admixtures with this. Let's see if there's anything else I wanted to. So it shows the kinship of the analysts of which ones were related to each other. So they tested all individuals together, and they found one first-degree relationship between ORD001 and ORD009, and two second-degree relations between ORD004, SAL007, and SAL011. We tested those relationships using all individuals from Ordonia, including SAL007 and SAL011, and all individuals from Cyclopedia, including ORD004. We compared the estimated mtDNA, haplogroups, carbon, radiocarbon dates, genetic sexes, average human coverages, and the age of death from the individuals to confirm or dismiss relationships. All right, and like I said, I already covered their different admixture, and I also did the distance of which modern populations they would be related to. All right, I think that's it on this. And I have their wiki page where you can go and find their genetics, basically confirming everything I presented. So this is just summarized of the samples that they found. So 3 paternal lineages of the Iron Age samples belong to J-M241. One of them could be further processed as J-L283, plus 2 samples belong to I-M223. One could be further processed as I-Y3670. 2 samples belong to R-M269 and R-P312. And the interesting thing is about this is how they're able to write this without a citation, like how they, were able to further process to a certain haplogroup. So I don't see the citation for that because I don't think it's in here if I'm not mistaken. I'm not mistaken because I don't think that's in here. Let me see. Let me see the haplogroups. There we go. Yeah. So okay, so yeah, so they're just using it based off that. All right, cool. I don't know why they just didn't say it like that for the process. You should just said their haplogroups. So the interesting thing about these J2Bs is their samples aren't related to the Canaanites. So the Lebanese samples. All right, so we see this one had a Levant till Karasa, early antiquity, but at 8.6, so it's not showing Canaanite. So that's interesting to highlight. Let me see, so you can see what I'm talking about. There we go. You see? Yeah, that's I found that interesting. Let's see what the other one was. cell 001. What's the other one? Cell 010. Let's see something real quick. So I don't have that one. What about 10? I don't have that one either. So I have 003 and that's it. Alright. Yeah, that's the only one I have, unfortunately. Yeah, that is interesting. That means that these J2Bs are different than the Lebanese J2B. That means their admixture is different. They weren't either they were associated with the Canaanites before, the Canaanite culture before, and they drifted away and they just mixed in with the Italian peninsula or that region and they separated. Could that be the case for the tribe of Dan, for the Danoi, for the Dardanians? I don't know. I really don't know. They never mentioned Darda in this paper, Dardanian. So I have no idea. They didn't even mention Dodan or Rodan in this paper. So yep, that goes to show you. All right. So yeah, just let me know what you think. This is a lot to take in. Um, there's a lot of material to cover. But just let me know if you like this content. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any feedback for me, whether it's good or bad, just let me know. Yeah, that's pretty much it. My next video I'm going to be doing is going to cover this paper. Oh, here, I want to go ahead and show you all the steps. So the step ancestry for those that don't know. All right, let me see if this is showing correctly. All right. Okay, step. So there's a western step and there's a eastern step, right? So when they had the step ancestry, their ancestors had to come from somewhere around these two areas, right? So I'm assuming it's the R1Bs that had that. So these two R1Bs that brought that step ancestry, but that's just um that's my interpretation of that. And in case y'all haven't heard, there was let me see if I can pull it up. It's the El Argar. Argar. This paper was just released December 27th, 2022. The kinship practices in the early state El Argar society from Bronze Age Iberia. A lot of these samples had R1B. All right. So what they would have also brought a lot of steppe ancestry to these regions. Um, but back to what I wanted to talk about. So my next video is going to be dealing with the Kerma samples, the Meroitic samples that were found. So if I'm not mistaken, it's just like one or two. But this is going to be my next video. It's going to be on this paper. And I brought it up in a post on my YouTube channel, I'd say about a month ago, about 4 weeks ago. So if you have not seen it, please look up my look on my community. It's on there. I'm gonna pull it up right now for y'all to see. Give me a second, y'all. All right, community. Let me see how I'm gonna do this. All right. See. All right, so this is my community. If I can get it to work. Here we go. All right, so for the Iberia samples, I posted a few of them. This isn't all of the samples that are available, but it's a few of them. Let me go down to the topic at hand for the next video. Get to so it's been about 4 weeks ago then. More than 4? There we go. So it's been a month ago. All right, so this is the next video I'm going to do. All right, y'all. It's been Biblical DNA. I'm out.